So I just got back from seeing Warfare in theaters, and if you're new to this channel, we do honest reviews. I'm not doing any crazy edits or clickbait to try to make you stay or watch. This is just me telling you guys like it is and if this movie's worth watching. I'll be going through different parts of the movie, saying what was good, what was bad, and giving my final ranking at the end of the video. If you like this type of normal content, consider subscribing. Here's how I describe this movie in one sentence. I don't think I've ever seen a movie like this. For those of you that don't know, every aspect of this movie was based on a memory had in Iraq. So the entire movie takes place in just one small piece of time and essentially just shows you what happened that day. There's not really any plot or any main characters, it's just telling you this fucked up story. And I personally thought that made it really interesting. The very opening surprised me. If you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. But after that, we hear the silence of Iraq. There's a lot of sitting around and reporting, and when I watch these movies about Iraq, I can't help but think about how different that war was. Now, obviously, I wasn't there in Iraq and I wasn't in World War II, but here's how I see it. In World War II, the US was motivated to stop Hitler. We were in Europe and we were fighting for territories at specific battles. In Iraq, it doesn't seem like there's any specific ground they're taking. At least in these movies, that's what it seems like. And if there's anyone in the comments that can confirm or deny this that knows more than me, let me know. But the first 25 minutes or so showcase this. It's very suspenseful because you obviously know at some point something is going to happen, but it's really just them sitting and waiting, and it makes it seem like that's what most of Iraq was. There's no music at all in this movie, and it's really supposed to make you feel like how it was for these guys. It's not boring, but it's definitely not for everybody. I can see some people just wanting for something to happen in the first 25 minutes, but you get little hints at things happening, like you see a sniper glint aimed at them for a second that they don't notice, but eventually we get to the part with the grenade in their window, and this is where shit starts to go down in the movie and doesn't stop until the very end. Like I said before, there's no music in this movie, so it really relies on sound design for the intensity, and they nail it. The part where the tank gets blown up and the sound seems like it's like underwater really forces you into that scene. And once this happens and Elliot and Sam are badly injured, the movie is just waiting for them to be rescued, and it is tragic. Think of Black Hawk Down, but way worse, because they show you up close the gore and the injuries, and the performances by Cosmo Jarvis and Joseph Quinn are intense. Once I got to that part of the movie, I thought, I don't know how much the real life guys would enjoy watching this movie. It reminded me of how there's the story of the veterans not being able to watch Saving Private Ryan because the D-Day scenes triggered their PTSD. I wonder if that would be the same for the guys in this movie. It's also at this point where nothing is funny. In the beginning of the movie, there's some funny parts and lines, and you'll maybe chuckle at them, but about an hour in, once you get here, you will not be laughing anymore. If anything, you'll be upset about the tragedy of war. I saw a story about how Elliot Miller's wife came up to co-director Ray Mendoza and thanked him because she could finally see and understand what her husband went through. Just heartbreaking stuff. It was at this point in the movie as well that you start looking at it not like a movie, and you just start seeing the tragic things our veterans experienced in Iraq. So of course I want to note that co-directors Ray Mendoza and Alex Garland did a great job directing this movie by giving it an almost unstylized style, but this isn't really a movie where you're paying attention to things like cinematography. You're more focused on the performances from the actors. The movie doesn't take any political stances in terms of pro or anti-war, but I think any normal person watching it can understand that no human being should be put through those situations. And they really show you how devastating it can be. Something that stood out to me at the end of the movie is how many of the real people's faces were blurred. You know, when they were showing the comparisons to the actors, I personally interpreted this in a few different ways. One way could be that these events were so devastating to them that they rejected the idea of a movie being made about it, so it's their way of boycotting the creation of the movie. The other could be that they're against the Iraq war in general, as many people now are looking back, or obviously it could just be as simple as they wanted some privacy. It was just something interesting for me to think about. So overall, I don't even know or even want to rate this movie, because like I said, it doesn't really feel like a movie. It actually does feel like a memory of one very specific event in Iraq. I don't think this movie's for everyone. I think there are people who will have zero interest in it, but if you watch war movies and want one that's not just shooting and Hollywoodized explosions, you should go to the theaters and see this. Again, I had such trouble rating this, but I thought it would be fair to give an above average rating for me at 3.5 out of 5 stars. And if you guys are curious, you could check out my letterbox, but let me know in the comments your rating and what you thought, and we could talk.